I've already started streaming at night.
Yeah, it's live right now. And what we're going to do is just going to go back straight to the questions. And we've told on our social media that what we're doing now is being streamed on YouTube. But thanks for being super flexible. I think the last question that we had going on was talking about whether or not this feels like work, or where were we? Where do you want to pick
Yeah,
up from?
I think that's where we want to pick up from, and talking about Ameem's experience of how he juggles a lot of things.
Yes, we
Yeah,
were
this
basically
is
waiting
super immense.
for
Yeah,
a So,
Okay.
Aman, do you want to just ask Ameem the question?
definitely. I want to know myself as well. So Ameem, we were talking about how do we manage Misal with our work, and I personally want you to share your story because you have been helping a lot of people out there with their CVs interviews, and Ameem also is doing an online degree, by the way, in data analytics with IIT Madras. So he has four things going on, and he's doing amazing in all four, right? So Ameem, will would love to hear how do you do all this.
Yes. So I think one thing that has, or I think that makes it easy for me is that even in NIFT, I was the student president there. So I was handling a lot of work along with my studies there. And I think the study was my lower priority. So I gave priority to the university itself. And I was trying to understand how things work, how people talk to stakeholders. I was even setting up tents for my events that were happening in. And then when I came to Excel, again, I think I moved into a general secretary role and a lot of societies and day in, day out meetings. So what happened is that when I entered lockdown and suddenly I had nothing to do, so I felt as if my life is meaningless. I'm not doing anything. So I remember I used to have conversation with my friends that I don't have anything to do. Bhai, I think I'll go mad. And I think this was one reason why I stood for general secretary because my friends said if you don't do this work, then in second year, because the workload of MBA is going to be high, you are going to go crazy because you won't have anything to do. So that is one of the inspirations that I did that. So I realized that okay, fine, I'm going to have a job, so maybe it's going to extend till 7. So what am I going to do from 7:30 p.m. in the evening to 9 a.m. in the morning next day? So and that thought initiated that okay, fine, why don't I pursue something? So I started getting on to learning over here. And one of my friends told that okay, IIT Madras is launching a 3-year full-on PhD in data analytics. So I said okay, fine, let's do it. So I enrolled myself in it. Then it all happened. Then I said, oh, okay, I will study for 2 more hours. So even then, I sleep at 2 a.m. So if from 7:30 to 9:30, if I'm studying 5 and I'm doing 1 hour of dinner and everything, still I have 2 more hours to go before I sleep. So I asked Aman a very straightforward question that how much time do you need from
Yeah.
him? He said every week I need 6 to 7 hours. So I just calculated that it means every day 1 hour. I can give that. So I was like, okay, let's do this also. And then on weekends, I was already doing some CV workshops for students and all that. So I think I that keeps me very much occupied. That keeps me very away from a lot of other things. So, for example, Instagram is something that I very, very rarely use because once I get onto Instagram, it's like I am hooked onto it, reels after reels, 1 hour, 2 hours, just go away. So, I think the whole motivation is that you just calculate your time, how much time do you have, and just see your bandwidth. And I think that if you are comfortable, if you know that this is something that's important for you, anyways you are going to make time for it. So it's just that where does that work lie in your priority order? If it's there in your priority order, by hook or by crook, everyone will get it done. I don't think that if anyone knows that this work is a priority for me, he won't do it or she won't do it. So I'm sure that you have to just make it your priority and then it's okay.
That being said, I think it makes a lot of sense to understand what your bandwidth is and prioritize. But I want to go around the table and we start with you, Ameem. How do you factor in your mental health and well being? And I say that not as somebody who's also juggling multiple things, plus education, plus COVID, plus everything else that keeps happening in the news, talking about even in terms of our Muslim identity and how some pieces of news hit us harder. So, how do you balance all of this and what do you do to maintain a sense of well being?
Correct. So I think that's a very meaningful question. So basically, when COVID started coming into India, I think last February or March, early March, and everywhere in news it was that Jamatis are spreading it and jihadi bomb and all of that. So what started happening was that I was just visiting these news all over the place. In Twitter, I was seeing this. On my friend's WhatsApp group, I was seeing this. And then at a time, I started realizing that this is getting into me. Somewhere I am also getting biased towards. I am also not seeing what's the fact. There are people in our community who are wrong. There are people who are not and being said they are wrong. So I could earlier very clearly identify that this is something wrong that's happening and this is not wrong. But when I got to hear such a, and media is saying something, my family is saying something else. So my compass started moving to other side, and that is when I decided that I cannot keep speculating. So first thing that I did was for first straight 3 months I quit Twitter because I think that is place where everyone is sending and sharing their opinions, whatever. Then I left few groups where I knew that people are tending towards some particular side, and it's not that people who are just against Muslims. Is again, I left those groups also where I saw that people are against other communities. So the first thing that I did was I wanted to remove negativity out of my life because I knew that it's negative out there. I know, but the more I'm in touch of that negativity, the more negativity that's going to flow in. So post that, then I started thinking of what productive can I do with my time, and then all of these CV workshops started coming. And the moment I started helping people, and after 1 month, someone texted me saying, "Hey, I mean, you helped me with CV, and today I got an internship." Hey, I mean, then that became like a very good source of happiness. Okay, fine. Every 15 days, I used to get 2, 3 messages from random people who I have never met. I don't know their face. I don't know their Facebook ID, Insta ID, nothing. I don't know anything. It's just a Google Meet link that's being shared, and people are coming back to you and saying, "Hey, I mean, you helped me 4 months back, and today I got an internship, and I really feel that what you taught helped." So I think that thing started building so much positivity that all this negativity around me that started going away. And then I met Aman and Shwesta, and I think there are a bunch of positivities for me also. So I think that's how it all that negativity went away and positivity.
What about you, Aman? How do you handle mental health and well-being for yourself?
uh, I think, as I mentioned in my earlier answer, right? I mean, during the protest, there was a lot of anger. Because uh, when you don't have things under your control, you feel angry, you feel disappointed, you feel frustrated, right? And that time period lasted for around a couple of months, and then my perception also started changing. So when I was reading a lot of articles, going to YouTube, going to Twitter, Instagram, etc., uh, there was a, there was a negativity all around, and it was reinforcing, as Amin mentioned, right? But then I thought that what can you do? I mean, you can be frustrated, you can be a change maker, right? What is it in your hand? Take control of things you can change, and that is how Misal came into picture, and that is what my mantra is now as well. That whenever things start getting frustrating, whenever you see no hope, you you start acting out, right? I mean, whatever small thing that you can change, whatever delta, even if it's like 0.1%, 0.01%, if you can do that, uh, don't be just social media warriors, because I was becoming one at one point of time. I would rant on social media that this is happening wrong, this is etc. I mean, a lot of things, right? But at the end of the day, what am I doing to make things better? Social media is obviously goes a long way in creating awareness, but what impact I'm having on the ground, and that is how we started Misal, and that is what my mantra is going forward. That whenever my mental health takes a beating, I go towards looking forward to solutions. Okay, what can I do to improve this? And while I am driving those solutions, it automatically becomes better, because there's a lot of positivity on the ground. When you talk to people, they are highly enthusiastic about driving change, about making their lives better, etc. So you see that, okay, you can move the needle somewhere towards positivity. So that's how it is for me.
Fair enough. So you take all the negativity more as a challenge or more as something that can be synthesized into creating positive impact. Shaista,
Yeah.
what about you? What have you been doing for your mental health?
Yeah. So I follow the same mantra as Aman. And like if there's a problem in your life, if there's a problem around you, and if you can find a solution, then work upon it. And if you can't find a solution for it, if you don't have any, you do really feel helpless, and if you have nothing at all to like do anything about it, just distance yourself from it very peacefully. Like, be calm about it and be okay. It's something that I can't do it, and find some other uh, venture. So me, um, for example, I take painting as an escape from what's going on in the reality, and that works well for me. And so find
By the way,
something
everyone
like that.
listening to us, you should follow Shaista's Insta page, not for her professional advice or her missile work, but really for her art therapy work. Yeah, you're supposed to be an art influencer. Like, forget your MBA and your NEFT and your finance sector and your social impact. But I'm glad that
Right.
you did that, because I don't think as students we're taught to have hobbies. Remember when we used to fill out hobbies in slam books, we would all say reading and listening to music. Like, we don't have real hobbies. And the way Shaista, you're
Yeah.
using your art right now, a hobby right now, to be a mode of expression and something to help you through, I think is really relevant. Sorry I cut you off. Just wanted to tell you that I'm a fan of your artwork.
Thank you, thank you. And I'll really take your advice on opening my own art page someday. So yeah. So yeah, find something that is help you escape with whatever it's going on. And you don't have to tackle everything that's going on. You don't have to have a solution for everything. Just let it be, whatever it is, and shun your mind about it. So, for example, the COVID situation, I can't do anything about it, right? I can donate something, I can just verify the numbers, I can help a person out. That's what I can do. Help a person in finding the real contact. That's what I can do. Apart from that, I can't do anything. So, I've stopped looking at the numbers now. I've stopped looking what's going on, and just focus on the art, focus on your work, focus on the life that you have right now, and yeah, that should do it.
Yeah, and it's nothing to beat ourselves up on if we can't absorb all the news and all the negativity. And it's fine to have to shut that off for your own mental health. Ameem, coming back to you, you've been taking out so much time for mentoring people along with Misal, and you've been really smart about how you prioritize. I do want to ask you, why do you think it's important for the youth of the country to start thinking about giving back earlier on? When we were growing up, I don't know if you also heard these stories about, or this narrative that, you spend your first like 20, 30, 40 years earning, and then NGO social work is something you do later when you have enough money and prestige. But everybody on this call has expedited that, right? And is thinking about social impact in our 20s and our early 30s. Why do you think that's important? I mean,
First of all, what I think is that the access to things have changed, have become very easy. So maybe 20 years back, if I wanted to help someone with a resume workshop, it would, or let's not go 20 years back, let's go 2 years back before COVID. If I wanted to help someone sitting in Patna, but I wanted to help them building their resume, then either I would have to go to them or they would have to come to me, because no one was so much very easily moving to Zoom or Google Meet. And I think people even did not take these sessions very seriously. Online session, acha, the heavy hai kuch matlab not good. But today, if you see, I'm pursuing a full-time degree online, and that too from IIT. So things have changed a lot, and therefore, I think for a lot of people, giving back has become very easy. The second thing is that the kind of a skill, there is something that I cannot do right now. If I have to help someone financially with big amounts, that I cannot do right now, and maybe I would be able to do after 30 years. But now we all realize that there is something that we can give back at this moment. Everyone has something that's maybe he can impart to someone else. Someone is very good. For example, Shaista is good at painting. She could not do it 10 years back, but today someone good with painting can take a art workshop online and say that these are the four kinds of brush strokes that you can do, and people can learn from Shaista. If I want to do some CV workshops, then I just go back, share my screen, see, this is my CV, and this is how I went about it. This is the thought process that I put in my CV, and you can do the same. And then the best part is that it does not stay with you. So in Sanskrit, I used to study Sanskrit in 10th, and then there was a doha that I heard that uh, Saraswati is a vidya which you share and it becomes more when you share. So it actually happens that way, that when you share something, I shared someone, okay, fine, this is how you make your CV. He told someone else in his college, and he told someone else in his college, and that's how I started going to colleges also. Sitting here in my home in Patna, I have taken sessions for institutes in Ludhiana, Bombay, Tamil Nadu. Hyderabad, we were three of us were taking some session for some people in Hyderabad few weeks earlier. So it's easy to give back. I don't have to do anything extra. It's not that okay आज तो बहुत भारी काम करना है यार किसी को मदद करना है बहुत मेहनत लगने वाली है ऐसा नहीं है. The way right now what we are doing is a form of giving back. This call is a form of giving back to people. So it's so easy. So why not? So that's the question.
Yeah, that's a great point. The barrier to be able to give back to society has been lowered, and tech has been a huge enabler for that. Aman, sorry, want to ask you rather, what do you think would be the dream state, or what would Indian society look like in your dream state? Another way to look at it is, what do you want Misal to achieve in, say, a 5 to 10 year horizon?
I think what we want to achieve. So our vision for Misal is very clear, right? I mean, we want to be at a state where we don't want to exist. I mean, Misal should not exist. Organization like led by and Misal should not exist. I would want to be in that state particularly. I mean, if if for example someone has big dreams, they should not be able to like do away with those dreams because of any kind of problems, either financial, either role models, etc. Right? So that is how I look at things. I mean, and that is what we define vision of Misal as, that everyone is irrespective of any differences like geographical, religion, caste, etc. Be it any faith, they should have access to every opportunity available, and they should be able to realize those dreams. And organizations like Misal should not like exist in 5-10 years down the line. That is my dream, basically.
Yeah, completely concur with you. We're all trying to work ourselves out of a job essentially when it comes to our social enterprise, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shaisa, coming to you, can you reflect on your journey and tell us, say, who were the three people who were the most impactful mentors in your life? And I know you've said that you can count the Muslim women in your circle on one hand, so I kind of know what this answer will look like. But I want to understand not just the background of these people in terms of their socio cultural, religious background, but also what walks of life did your top three mentors come from?
Okay. So, um, okay. So when it comes to um, looking at people for mentorship, I really didn't know what uh, it, when I like started my education, formal education in school and in college. I didn't know what a mentor is. I didn't know well, how to seek help from someone or how to find a mentor for yourself. And it um, so in school I didn't have any such mentor, and there were teachers, of course, but then whatever they used to teach, whatever education they had, it was for the entire class. I didn't have any personal connection with any of the teachers. But in college, I met few people. I made friends. I made really good friends in college, and there are people coming from different background with different interests in life, with different perspectives, and it was so amazing to meet like such people from very varied backgrounds, and they each one of them taught me something or other, and they made me realize that I have something in me and that I am a unique in certain ways, and I can you know um, do things which I, I'm already good at things which others don't even realize that there's a skill. There are such skills that do exist in life. So yeah, so my first mentor I'll count as my friends. Each one of them taught me something or the other. Each one of them inspired me, and yeah, and they're all from different background, different socioeconomic background. And second, the professors that I met there, some of them I made very close relationships. And it started with one professor. She was our communication. She used to teach communication in college, and she was quite young. We became friends. She was like an elder sister, not and less of a professor to me. And she taught me everything. She used to guide me on every aspects of life, not just professional, but as well as personal, and how should I, view life in general. And yeah, and she taught me about how to approach mentors, how to find people who can help you out, and from her I learned what mentorship is. And yes, again, she was a non-Muslim, but yeah, she helped me out. And she taught me the art of reaching out. So uh, sh- I started reaching out to people on LinkedIn. I used to, if I used to make goals. I still do that. I make goals for myself that, okay, I want to achieve. I want to become like this person, and then I stalk these people on LinkedIn, and then I see what have they done so far, and then I just text them, okay, I want to be like you, and will you please help me out? Most of them don't reply, but there are few people who reply, and you have to like kind of pester people. And yeah, and I found great relationships with people through LinkedIn. And now I've even started reaching out people on Instagram, especially the artists over there. It's like, how do you price your art? How do you do that? How do you mix with acrylic colors? It's so difficult. And people do help out. People they actually feel happy when they're helping people, because it gives such a sense of fulfillment. Even when why Misal is fun for us, it's because at the end of the day, it's so fulfilling. Okay, we're doing something good in life, and everyone wants to have that feeling. So it's not like that they won't help you. Everyone wants to have own that feeling, and everyone wants to feel good about themselves. So people will help you. You just have to reach out. So yeah. So now I'm not limited to three mentors. I have a lot of mentors in my life, and they are teaching me something or the other, and I just reach out to them.
I think that's such a fantastic point for two reasons, right? One is that it it takes you to get a mentor to really realize how important mentorship can be. And then the second thing is you learning how to network and to reach out to people and ask for help is such a useful tool. And these are some of the things that we do incorporate very heavily in Led By's program. And I also was just thinking of the way Misal and Led By tie in together, right? So Misal is really like giving that spark to people, that idea, that nudge to go and think and to try to achieve. And then Led By provides you that pipeline where we're providing you mentors, professional development, etc. That brings me to my penultimate question to Ameem. Ameem, you have a thriving LinkedIn profile with some 13, 14,000 followers slash connections. I want to hear an example of a connection that you were able to make, say, recently, which had some sort of impact.
Sure. Um, I think it's very. I think people listening should also know that 14,000 is the decent number. It's not very great. It's not even less. But the journey to make or to I never started thinking, okay, my milestone is कि 5,000 followers चाहिए मेरे को. Okay, so again, it all started with the boredom that I had in life when I was sitting in lockdown. So I started going to LinkedIn. So I had made my LinkedIn account back in 2015, I think, but I had never posted, never liked, never commented anything till 2020. So in 2020, when I opened LinkedIn and I saw that there are so many good people and they are writing amazing content, so I thought that let's start writing. So the first post I wrote, I deleted it after 1 hour because I thought it's very shitty and people will judge me for what I have written. So I started sharing people's posts. The posts that I liked, I started sharing them. So my first connection that I made was because I shared someone's post and he liked that particular fact that I really liked, and he's an author of a book that I wanted. So it's a book on R software of how do you do analytics on R. And I just shared one of his posts, and then he pinged me saying, "Hey, why did you like? What did you like in my post that you shared?" And I said that, "Hey, I really love your book because that particular book does not give theory on how to do, but it actually is a practice file kind of a book where they go step by step and say that, okay, do you want to do this?" So I said, I really love your book, but your book is for 6,000 rupees in India. And right now I don't have a job and I'm not sure when my job is going to
Mm.
start because I have no communication from my company. And I am not even sure that will it stay, that offer is stay or not, because a lot of companies are taking back their offer. So he said, okay, let me see what I can do. And I thought that he's such a big man, he won't give a damn about what I am asking or requesting. But 2 days later, he texted me saying that I have requested Amazon India, and they are saying that in 15 days they can ship the book out to you. So I said, and will it be a cash on delivery? And he started laughing that no, it's not a cash on delivery. I am sending you that book so that you can read it out. And that day I realized that I don't have any physical presence right now, and still this person is ready to help me. And I'm in touch with that person right now. I just now for me that person is like a neighbor, and I just ping him, hey, I was doing this and my result is bad. What? So he says, share me your screenshot, and then he starts helping me. From there, I started seeing that it's okay, even if 15 people out of 30, let's say, are thinking that what shit Amin is writing. The next 15 are going to think that I'm writing something good because they may relate to it. And therefore, I started writing, I started sharing my journey, I started how I failed sometimes and what I did there. And just what I felt, what I told my brother at my home, I started typing that out on, and then I would send it to my friends that, hey, can you just review it for me, because I think my English is not that great that people on LinkedIn they may judge me on my English. So I started sending them to my grammar Nazi friends, and then they would just give me, hey, there should be in place of in spite. Why are you writing amongst? It should be among. I was like, fine. Then someone gifted me Grammarly. Then I find okay. Then Grammarly happened, and then I think I just started writing that down, and then I don't know why people started following. They must have liked something, and then from there I think a lot of relationships have been built. I know the CEO of world's largest lift making company, Schindler, and I talk to him on WhatsApp, and he shares me, I send him photos of what I cook on Eid, and he shares me photos of his gym workouts. So now imagine sitting in this room and not being active on LinkedIn. I could not have met even the CEO of my own company, but right now I know CEO of a company, and I don't know, maybe in future I may be working with him, and it's good to have these people in your life, because if I have some idea, when for example when Aman asked me to join Misal, and everyone knows that when you say that this is the initiative is specifically for Muslims, there are a lot of questions that are going to flow in. So while I was having communication with Aman also, that how do you tackle this particular question, at the same time I was also, because everyone at the I'll be very honest, everyone is also thinking that what are my bosses going to think if you're in organization, if I do something that's particular to a community, what are your friends going to think? So I started reaching out to these connections of mine who are very senior people, and mostly most of them non-Muslims, and I shared that, okay, fine, this is what I want to do for my community, how do you perceive? And all of them was so welcoming that, come on, everyone is crying that something bad is happening with your community, you're doing something about it, why are you so why are you having double thoughts about it? And then one day I remember we posted a message on LinkedIn, and I shared with Aman that, hey, see, this is what I'm going to post, what do you think, is it fine? Everything twice, thrice, four times we checked it, and then we shared it on LinkedIn, and the kind of insane response we got from people, the kind of support that people shared from across the community. I think that just bolsters the vision that, okay, just go out there, as Shrishta was saying, just reach out to people. The one thing that I think I should share with everyone is that right now at the stage that we are in.
Is that a
Yeah.
dramatic?
Hello.
Yeah.
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 So no, it's not. I think that's some network lag. So the one thing that I wanted to share with everyone at this stage is that there's a word in Hindi called besharam. You have to be besharam when you are reaching out to people. Few people will reply, people won't. Just be polite. Don't be rude to them. Just be polite and just reach out. There will be someone who is going to help you, and that one person will lead to another connection. That will lead to another connection. That will lead to another connection, and you will have your life very well sorted out.
I agree with everything you said. And Besharam, being stubborn as well, along with the caveat of
Yeah.
exactly being respectful, having your heart in the right place, having the
Correct.
right values.
Correct.
And talking about reaching out to people, you're right. Not many will reply. Maka, you don't need 10,000 people, right? You need a handful of mentors who can change the course of what you do. When I reflect on me moving from clinical medicine to public health, it was because there was this one professor who was not a jerk, who was welcoming and let me come into his office and discuss my research projects instead of me being petrified of this head of department, right? And I met him in my second year of MBBS, and of course, he had a role to play in the fact that I went to a public policy school 8 years later. And I didn't need to have every professor be my mentor, just one was enough. And again, reaching out to people, not being shy about that is so, so incredibly important, especially for an education system when we're told to be so subservient. It requires to be Besharam, but hopefully in the future it won't be considered Besharam, right? Like, why do we even think of it as being something that's shameless? What is wrong with reaching out to people? And I completely agree to your point, Ki, what Shaista was saying, people love having people reach out to them, but there is a caveat, right? Now, the way you reach out to people is really important. If you write to them, and I'm sure you get this asked all the time, how do I get into XLRI? Or how do I clear IIM Ahmedabad exam? Now, there's some mehnat you can do before you reach out to people, right? Google is your friend. Try to read up whatever is available online freely. And agar uske baad something is not clear, if there's something specific you want to ask, reach out to that person with that. And your chances of getting a response like skyrocket if you're just specific.
Mm.
Reach out to Shaista about something super specific about I am Ahmedabad and maybe her experience as being a minority student over there or a girl over there or somebody from like even the NIFT background is kind of unique, right? So be super specific when you're reaching out to people that'll help you get a response. Aman, coming to you, I wanted, even though we've addressed this a little bit before, why do you think social media is the right platform to be able to reach out to people and inspire people as compared to, say, writing or having workshops in universities? Is it, I'm guessing, partially also COVID related? But apart from that, what makes you really believe in the power of social media?
Uh,
Considering
I think
Amin refuses to be on Insta.
no, I think that's an important question, and we kind of debated a lot when we were starting Misal out. So, the first idea that was there when we were starting Misal was writing blogs about people, right? I mean, uh, because we were not well versed with how editing happens, we were not comfortable coming out on video and interviewing people. But when we started talking to our target audiences, right, people who are young in their colleges, even parents of these people, because we wanted to reach out to parents as well and try and change their thinking. So when we started reaching out and understood their media habits and media consumption, we realized that in youth, TikTok was picking up a lot, right? And in parents, they were spending a lot of time on YouTube and Facebook videos. And again, on Instagram, IGTV was picking up a lot. Also, we realized that we should be where our target audience is, and we should not try and change the behavior while we are trying to make an impact. I think we should be there where they are spending most of the time and try to influence their thinking through there. So that was that. So that is how the idea of social media came into being. So that is how we pivoted to videos, and we chose YouTube because that is the only platform which provides like long form content. And so yeah, that was the idea. I mean, be where your target audience is, and social media has a lot of virality, right? So you can reach a large amount of people, and you can have a large amount of impact. And primarily our Misal's work is to tell stories, right? And
Yeah.
stories have a lot of virality on social media. So that is how it was a natural choice later
Also,
as
for
a medium.
everybody watching this, the way all of us connected was LinkedIn as well. Like Aman reached out to me on LinkedIn in September 2020, and that's how we've gotten to know each other. The other thing I would want people to take away from this conversation of four young Muslim folks who have social enterprises is that it's also a very collaborative space, right? Now, one of the really exciting things about being in India is that there are these massive social challenges for which, as was spoken on this call, tech can be a huge enabler. So there are a lot of solutions that we can think of to be able to solve these social challenges. Magar, as you're doing all of this, build off each other's work, right? Like I'm feeding off a Misal's energy, Misal is feeding off a Zedbai's energy, and then we're letting that also be out and have the ripple effects that Ameem was talking about. So it's really important to also think of the social impact space as something being very collaborative. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. And if you can leverage other people to do that or other institutions to do that, absolutely do that. The last question before we wrap up, and we start with Shaista, is I know this question is super cliched, but if there was one piece of advice you wanted to give somebody like Shaista, say 10 years back, right? So in high school-ish, what advice would you give?
I think be fearless, be shameless, and do what you think is right. Because you at that age you listen. There's a lot of noise around here, and there's a lot of advices around there. Like ये अच्छा है, ये गलत है, लोग क्या कहेंगे, ये क्या होगा. Like don't listen to them at all. Just what you're best at. You know what you want to do, and just do it. Do it. If it works, fine. If it doesn't work, it's fine as well. Move on to the next thing and do what you like to do. And yeah, be shameless, be fearless. That's the advice I would like to give my younger self.
I love it. Ameem?
I think that one advice that I would have given myself 10 years back would be that don't carry the baggage of failure with you. I have done that mistake. I have carried that failure. Ki, okay, fine. I have failed once in life. And whenever I would meet someone, everyone would remind me, Acha, this had happened with you. Now these things cannot happen because that happened 2 years back. And this happened, I think, till the point I was in XLI, people would say, hey, you are now in such a good institute, but I would carry that failure. Ki, no, here also I'm going to face this issue. So what I'm talking about is I had 60%, dot 60% in my 12th after a 96 percentage in my 10th. So it was a shocker for everyone. It was a shocker for me. It was a bigger shocker for my parents who were aspiring that my son is going to do some crazy uh, percentages in 12th. But what happened, I don't think 60% is something bad that has happened. But what happened is that the people, as Shaista was saying, people around me, they started making me feel that now you are going to miss on a lot of things because you failed somewhere in the back. And even in Excel, when I joined in, people started telling me, hey, so you won't get this particular shortlist because you won't get a FMCG shortlist because you have 60% in your 12. And someone, as you said, that people teach you, so someone told me that, I mean, you cannot go back 7 years in your life and change how much you did you score in your 12. So what you can do is start building from what you have. And then I started working on what will FMCG companies really like and how do they evaluate candidates. And I got a shortlist from Procter and Gamble, which I think is one of the best FMCGs visiting campuses. And I was one of the first people to get placed in my summer internship in PNG. So then I went back to these people and I made it a point to go back to these people and my seniors. And I told them that, see, you told me I got some good people and they told me not to believe in you. Please don't tell this to anyone else because maybe they won't get people who can tell them to do otherwise. So don't do this. So no one knows which company is shortlisting for what they like in you, what they don't like in you. So let everyone just go follow with this stride. So one piece of advice that I would want to give everyone who is on this call, and I give it to myself every day, is that don't carry that failure of baggage. If you have failed, fine. Just don't fail again. Just don't do the same mistakes and fail again. Just make that a point that you're not doing. For example, I did very poor in maths in my 12th, and I that's the reason why I got 60%. Right now, when I'm pursuing IIT degree, then they are teaching me calculus, which I hope if I would have studied back in 12th, I would have done good. But right now, I'm making it a point that I score a 8 out of 10 CGPA in calculus when I'm given an exam. So I don't want to commit that mistake again. That's it. That's the max that I can do or anyone can do. No one can go back and pass and change it. So that's it. And I'm still scared of calculus, to be honest. Very scared of calculus.
Yeah, and I honestly believe that we could have a separate conversation of all of us just talking about our failures. You know, we have all these fancy things on our LinkedIn profiles, and I'm pretty sure like my profile would have been intimidating to me 10 years back, but it's not because you don't get to see my email box, which has way more rejections and failures than you will ever know. So for literally every line that you see on LinkedIn in my profile, there are at least 100 people who have said no to me for something else. So don't judge us merely based on what you think we've achieved. We've all been through hardships and just downright failures also. So that's one way of also to reminding yourself to not carry a baggage of failure, because everybody, even the most successful person has had failures. Aman, what about you? What's your
I
piece
think
of
it
it?
would take your chances. I mean, you have a lot of ideas, right? You think a lot about what will people think if you fail. I mean, this fear of failure, and 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 by misal, I think when I implemented it, right, I mean, I and Shaista were discussing a lot, should we implement it or not. We have this idea, and then one day we both decided that okay, let's go for it. Let's not think about anything, let's just implement, and then keep on iterating. So that is what I would have told myself, that you would have a lot of opportunities for implementing a lot of ideas. Don't think, just do. You will
Hmm.
only understand if you like it, if you will be successful, if you will be a failure, only if you do it, only if you implement it, if only if you go deep into something, right? So take your chances, take action, just don't think. That would be my advice.
Thank you, Aman, Shaista, Ameem. The three of you, at the risk of being very cheesy, are great missiles for the Muslim community. That being said, I also want to summarize what you're saying, which I feel resonates a lot with Led by's vision, and even for me as a social entrepreneur, is social entrepreneurship or social impact is really one slogan that we have all heard. It's Nike's slogan. It's just do it. There's no other way. That's social entrepreneurship 101. And everything else that you folks have said kind of synthesizes into do it, fail, learn, and do it better. Just do all of that fast. Do it as fast as you possibly can. And you will collect your failures, but you'll get your successes. In that process, you'll also hopefully find your mentors and your tribe. But thank you. The three of you are doing fantastic work. I'm sure it's creating a lot of butterfly effect and a ripple effect across the community and even beyond that. And look forward to seeing Misal grow. Thank you all for joining us. And thanks to the audience for switching over to YouTube as we struggled with our Insta live today. Appreciate your resilience. And I'm sure you take that resilience to your workplace also. On closing thoughts, Ameem, Aman, Shaista, what is the best way for people to contact you in case they wanted to get some advice from you?
I think it would be
I'll say
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn?
Yeah.
LinkedIn for me too.
Perfect.
LinkedIn or Instagram.
But do follow us on Instagram. Do follow Misal on Instagram. Do follow YouTube on Instagram. We do reply to every
Fantastic.
message we get.
Great.